All right.
Chief O'Brien is in the zone. Odo has transferred Ensign Palmer's back to the Night Watch and reassigned crewman Donark to the Defiant as a member of the security detachment. And Kai wins again. Or does she?
Oh,
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton grunting at the thought.
hello, hello. Yeah, Kai wins. She's such a good villain. I hate her so much.
I love that you said, she's such a good villain. My name's Ryan T. Husk, and today we are reviewing Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 24, Shakaar, or as Cirroc and I like to call it, we like Shakaar. Shakaar that goes boom. We're Tigra and Bunny.
No, that's
we
Cirroc and I.
The boom.
That's a Ryan thing. That's not a Cirroc and I thing.
There are like 4% of you out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. TJ knows.
Nobody
TJ
knows.
already
Nobody
confirmed.
knows that.
This is directed by Jonathan West, written by Gordon T. Dawson, and executive story editor was Robert Hewitt Wolf. How are you, man?
I'm good. And we like to call it Shakaar.
Oh, that's bad. No, that's not better. But that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Shakaar.
There you go. Now you got it.
It's pretty good. All right. First things first, guys. Especially on YouTube, in the comments below, let us know which song reference is better. First, tell us which ones you recognized. Don't lie. Tell us which one you referenced or you recognized.
I got you beat on that.
And tell us which one you like better. Shakaar or Shakars that go boom?
Oh, this is good. This is a great start to this review here. I love it.
Well, it's either that or talking Bajorn politics for 50 minutes.
No, I prefer this. We can keep making our bid, you know. I'm going to sing mine, you sing yours. We'll just keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But no, I thought
before the end of this episode, we need to come up with two more. I'll put this one in. Ushakar Zulu. Ushakar. Maybe you didn't see the movie? I don't know. I did.
No,
Shaka Zulu. Right. Shakar Zulu.
Yeah, no, I figured that was it. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. We can talk about the show. I'm sure a few more will come out organically.
Before we get started, though, you did say that it was directed by Jonathan West. I want to give a little background on Jonathan West.
Yeah, please. I was wondering if you remembered him. Yeah.
I do remember him, and that's because he was our DP for the majority of the show.
Really? Good for him.
Yeah, so I believe he's in the he is in the DS9 documentary, What We Left Behind. He does a feature in there. But Jonathan West worked alongside us for the majority of the time. The other DP was his name is slipping me right now. He went on to go to Voyager, but his name is slipping me. But Jonathan West was fantastic, did a lot of work with us, along with our camera operator, Chris Cosgrove. So we worked a lot with Jonathan West. I wasn't aware that he directed episodes as well, but apparently he did, and this was a lot to do, especially considering the canyon kind of ridge scenes and stuff that were in this episode.
Was it Marvin V. Rush?
Marvin Rush, absolutely.
Got it. Yes. I just looked that up real quick. Thanks for stalling for me.
Yes. No, it was Marvin Rush was the DP, went on to do Voyager, and Jonathan West came in and took his place, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you were mentioning shooting in the canyons. You're right. That's like both a daunting and difficult task, as well as an exciting and, creatively limitless task almost,
Yeah, well, it's complicated in the sense that, there's, in some ways, there's not much you can, there's nowhere to hide stuff because you're looking at such a big landscape. So you have to have your shot set up properly.
You also have to be on schedule. You can't be like, we'll go into the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
No
it.
night shots. No night shots. So you're waiting for the daybreak, and you're starting right away. The other thing is, with the way that the canyons were, there was a lot of steep hillside, and I can only imagine having to set up shop at an angle at a damn near 45-degree angle, trying to set up all your equipment and get all the shots right. So
Right.
kudos to Jonathan West. I thought directorially did a pretty good job with this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I started out a little bit slow for me with the Bajorn political dialogue
Mm-hmm.
and the back and forth. So it took me a minute to just kind of get warmed up into the story and kind of like the story.
Right. And I mean, we always know when it's a Bajorn one, we kind of know what we're in for. Something that may or may not be terribly interesting, but will usually have some kind of good twist or moral story, or something that, mirrors kind of today's society. Yet again, to the credit of Ira and the others, they're writing these things 25 years ago that today we're always like, hey, that's just like, you know what I mean? So I don't know how they keep doing it, but good grief, they're good at that.
They are fantastic at it. And I mean, there were literally lines in the episode that I could have, that are in the headlines.
I know.
The same words. Like, it's like, how is that?
The same terms.
Yeah, I'm like, are they watching the show and just like quoting us, or are they coming up with this on their own? So it's kind of weird. All the stuff that we see in the news and the headlines, talks of civil war and all this, talks of imports and exports. For example, one of the big concepts in this episode, which was the central theme, was the idea of Bajor growing food for export.
Rather than feeding their own people. And that was the big, that's one thing. Those are the kinds of pros and cons that you weigh out when you're running a country or trying to, create an economic system for your country. And right.
So in Ethiopia, for example, and that's why this episode kind of touched this nerve for me. In Ethiopia, we have this problem with food and the shortage of food. And I think it's a well-known fact that, there's a lot of starving people in Ethiopia.
Right.
But at the same time, recently, Ethiopia has been asked to do a lot of growing for countries like China, right? And
gotta get your priorities straight, man.
Right. So they're growing grain and they're growing rice, and they're sending it around the world and exporting food. And meanwhile, people in Ethiopia are saying, "How are you doing that when we're starving?" So this particular topic hit home for me in that kind of a way, where I'm like, yeah, I understand this dichotomy in the decision making that governments make and what the people feel.
Right. That's really cool. That's really good insights there. And something that, to me, when a writing team is consistently hitting the nail on the head with similarities in future times, like right now we're in future times from when they wrote this. So they weren't writing something necessarily that mirrored something that was happening then all the time, but something that's happening in the future. And we wonder how the heck can they pull that off? It shows that they are students of history and they understand history. And if you catch enough themes of history, you can see the patterns and you can write about those patterns, and people can see that things happen historically that you are kind of talking about today. But there's also a really good chance that those themes will come back to fruition again in the future, and your story will continue to be relevant in that way. So it really shows that Ira and Robert and the team really understood history. They understood human nature and, the kind of problems that societies have, so that they can, not deliberately, but still successfully predict themes that will continue to pop up in the future. again, just major kudos to them on that.
Yeah, when you pick the right themes and you pay attention to the kinds of themes that reoccur and the way that the writers here on this show did, you're going to have material that's going to stand the test of time because it's going to constantly be relevant. That's also done in music, for example. There's a lot of music that touches on themes that are timeless, and
right.
That's why we still listen to Bob Marley's music, because the theme itself is timeless, right?
Right. That's why we're just singing about, we like the Shakaar, the Shakaars that go boom, right? Is because, boy, that was a generational song.
Everybody was singing that from where I
That was all the rage for like a Tuesday in 1988.
Yes, that and Chingy. But anyways, so one of the things that they talked about in this episode, another thing that we see in the headlines, in headlines in general, but they talked about, is this a free election? And the idea of it being a free election, right? I think Kai Wynn posed the question to Kira, is this a coup or is this a free election? And she said, oh, no, it's a free election,
But you're probably going to lose.
But you're probably going to lose, because when people find out that you want to feed other people and not feed your own people or steal farm equipment, I mean, So, yeah, that was kind of... Now, the overall premise of why this episode came to be in general, which is Kai wants these rebellious farmers to give over some kind of equipment. That to me seemed a little bit of a stretch. Like that these few farmers are holding some kind of technology that the Bajorn government can't get its hands on or replicate in any other kind of way.
Or just pick up with some shuttlecraft. Just go over and take it.
I mean, it's just that part of it was like, really? These like primitive, guys that are farmers are, withholding the Bajorn civilization because they have the only two, I forgot what the name of the particular thing they were looking for, but,
Reclamators.
Reclamators? Yeah.
Reclamators!
So stand up! Now, that was a good one. I like that one.
I don't know why, but when they said it 10 times, I didn't think of that. But the second you said it, you put a little emphasis on it that made me think of that right away. Come on.
Yes.
That's a good song right there.
Yeah, that was a good song. Reclamators, stand up. It was a clear black night. But no, so that was a little bit far-fetched for me. Like, okay, so these farmers have these reclamators that will turn the soil into magic gold. And, I'm like, come on, man. There's no way that they're the only people that have gold. It. I don't know. The Federation doesn't have any of these reclamators. Only these couple of farmers in this village. That was a little bit of a stretch for me. Now, if they had if they stole the technology, or they had something that was pivotal to the technology of developing this thing, then that would be different for me. And I'd say, okay, well, they're in the way. But it was kind of far-fetched, that part of it.
A similar thing, I didn't think of that, but I thought similarly, and I put it in my notes, that when the Bajorns were running around in the canyons and hiding out, that I was wondering why they were so difficult to find, because Bajorns do have ships. They do have like shuttlecrafts and things. Why not just fly over with your sensors and just kind of look around, and when you see them, just beam them. Just beam them into a brig or something like that. Like, right. They're like, no, we got to go park our cars and hike. Why don't you just fly around? They still have some technology. They still have spaceships.
Yeah. They had no other, there was no vehicles or motorcycles or something that they were traveling on. They're literally walking with their phasers. But yeah, that was kind of unbelievable. I thought more. I thought a tunnel situation would have been a better hideout / runaway spot for them. Like maybe if they had carved a series of tunnels within the mountains, like the Taliban in Afghanistan or something like that, then
Right.
it would have been more effective or believable for me than them running out in the open. Like they think we're 700 feet that way, but let's run over this way.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. But the overall message wasn't lost on me, and that is the ultimate corruption of Kai Wynn and how ruthless and unscrupulous she is. I actually suspected her for killing the guy that died, who was the head of the Security Council before.
Right.
They said he died in his sleep in like a heart attack or something, but I almost suspected that she was involved with that.
It was the Russians.
Right? They might as well have thrown that in there too.
Yeah.
It was like
His name was Callum Apron.
Mm-hmm.
Died of heart failure in his sleep. Huh, weird. Nobody saw it coming.
Drinking some tea, boarding a flight. So yeah, she is so good at being devious and just being maniacal. I hate her so much the minute I see her, which just means she's really doing a great job.
Yeah. Kai Ratchet.
But then I can't. But then I don't want to listen to her because I hate her so much. So I don't even want to hear the words coming out of her mouth because I know it's all lies and So it's kind of hard to watch her scenes where she's like, "My child, you stupid child," over and over again. I'm like, she's so belittling. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, she's like, "You're a complete idiot and you're worthless, my child." and that's supposed to make her seem like gracious or magnanimous.
Exactly. And so the way she does it is she's just so devious, and which is really great as an actress for Louise Fletcher, Nurse Ratched, right?
Uh-huh. Would you be sad if she were not in any episodes ever again?
No, but I would like to do a panel with her with all the devious people that we hate, and we've got to get the characters that are most hated, the Goldacotts.
Maybe even Jeffrey Combs as Wayoon or Brunt, FCA.
Right. And I'd just love to have a kind of a round table with all of them, and just kind of telling us how they channel the person that everybody hates so much.
And then
how are they able to do that?
And then we can throw in Max, just to be rude, and they're all in a panel, and then we're and all of you are just characters that we hate. You're so, and Max is like, what? Wait,
what did I do?
Yeah. You'd be like, why? I thought I was beloved. I thought people liked me.
Max, how did you get that much hatred inside of you that people really loathed your character? He's like,
I thought I did pretty good, brother.
Yeah. But what we did get to see in this episode is Kira kind of kick back and revert to her old militant kind of ways, right? She doesn't waste time. When she sees the opportunity and she's like, "I'm going for it. We're gonna take this route. I'm not gonna play around with this." So she's ready to dive in when it's time,
Right. People call that going back to your priors, which is kind of like when something happens, like a catastrophe happens or something, people tend to come together very quickly, right? Mm-hmm. Or they tend to be what they need to be. But then once that settles, or they get comfortable, or something, they're reminded they're back with their friends, or they're back in the place or whatever, then they go back to their priors. They go back to their roots, Mm-hmm. And she definitely did. And like you said, seamlessly, she just goes right. Suddenly she's just a Bajorn freedom fighter. And she's like, Federation be damned. I don't care the consequences. I'm back with my people. I'm feeling good. They need me. I'm liking this. I haven't showered in 2 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, and she's just like, if Kai's looking for a fight, then that's what she's gonna get because I'm ready to give it to her. It's the last time she's gonna lie to me, and that was like the final straw where she just lost all sense of reality. Didn't even send word back to Sisko like, hey, I'm gonna be out here for a couple of weeks or something. Nothing, no heads up. Just like, all right, let's do it. Pick up the stuff. Let's run. Let's get the guns, and let's dynamite this place. Like, all right.
You say so many things that like trigger thoughts and memories. Like when you say run and gun, I just start thinking basketball. When you say dynamite, you know what I start thinking of when you say dynamite. But they're actually remaking that.
What do you think?
Nothing.
Oh,
Blowing stuff up.
Okay.
Dynamite. We are going to go to our break right now. Before we do, though, guys, if you're enjoying our show, please consider going to patreon.com/the7th rule, becoming part of our team. It only takes $1. One buck bukai is all it takes. And we really appreciate it. If you don't have any money to spare, we totally understand. Just hit subscribe and hit the Gabriel Bell icon for notifications. And that's as good as gold for us. And share this video. Tell your friends. So we are going to take a quick break, and it's seriously quick. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the trivioids and a little bit more of this white knuckle action episode on the 7th rule. Hey everybody, welcome back to the 7th rule with Cirroc Lofton. My name's Ryan T. Husk. We're both wearing purple. It's a coincidence.
Yes, it is a coincidence.
Here are the trivioids that did or did not make it at the beginning of the episode. Kai wins again. We got that one. Odo has transferred Ensign Palmer's back to the Night Watch and reassigned crewman Denark to the Defiant as a member of the security detachment. By the way, we had to do 2 takes because the first time I said that at the top of this episode, I messed up Denark's name. I said like Don, and I just started laughing. And Cirroc, you were right. I should have just kept it. just rolled with it rather than starting over.
Yeah, that was great actually. Dorknar or something like that. But it was awesome.
Also, the Rakantha province used to be one of the most productive agricultural regions on Bajor. Chief O'Brien is in the zone. Bajor looks a lot like Santa Clarita. FYI, I mean, just an observation. When I first saw Bajor, I was like, oh, I think I can see Six Flags back there in the background. I think I can see it right over there. Mobara, Klin, Ornak Mubara, Klin, and Ornak were taken away, but the others are headed to Kola Mountains. Chief drinks synthale, extra stout, of course. Sometimes when Cardassians would get too close, the Bajorns would turn around and give them a bloody nose. Those were the ones.
Yeah.
How did you feel now that we're back into the second segment? Let's turn the page on the day, walk away. That's a reference from the Streets. They're a British music group.
Okay.
What do you think about the dart games? The chief is in the zone. He's drinking his synthale extra stout. I thought, okay, I can already tell from your reaction that you didn't. You're like, I thought when Chief O'Brien reached back to grab his drink and suddenly tore his rotator cuff, which people that watch baseball know that is not an easy thing to do. That really messes up pitchers. I thought Chief O'Brien was swindling Quark. I thought he and Bashir were pretending that he was injured so that they could get those 15-1 odds. And I was disappointed to find out that I was wrong because you don't tear a rotator cuff for just reaching. Anyway, what do you think of that?
Yes, I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. It wasn't a storyline that really went anywhere or exposed anything. I thought it would have been better for them to play it a little bit differently. For example, if they were trying to scam somebody else. So I thought it was an act of him tearing his rotator cuff. And I thought it was an act so that he can get out of being the man at Quark's who Quark was placing all these bets on, right? So he didn't want to be the guy that was advertises the marquee guy at Quark's bar, come and step right up, because it put him in like a circus show environment. And that would have been better for me if they played that element where O'Brien is reluctant. He doesn't want to be put out there and gambled on. And so he fakes this injury so that he doesn't have to do that. And, Bashir's in on it, and maybe even the Vulcan who was playing with him is in on it, just so he can get out of it. But that's not what it seemed to be. It just seemed to be like kind of a dumb luck type of episode, right? Where, I'm in the zone, dumb luck, but there wasn't really anything that I learned. There wasn't any lesson learned. There wasn't any real substance that came out of that whole storyline.
Yeah, it was just like a fun one. It was just kind of like it was very much a B plot, but it wasn't a B plot that held any weight or had any future ramifications. Like sometimes a B plot is Nog is going into Starfleet. I mean, that's a B plot with weight and a B plot with future ramifications, and sometimes a B plot is Chief O'Brien is doing well at darts. But that's very easy for a bottle episode, because they're like, cool, no problem, whatever. What's the B plot? Chief O'Brien's in the zone and he's doing well at darts. They're like, cool, that's an easy thing to buy because it doesn't have any future ramifications. It's totally safe and easy and it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like they didn't go somewhere with it. Like there was some other direction to go in there with it. And I didn't feel that. I didn't feel anything extra. It was just he's having a good dart moment or a streak, and that was it. And I just didn't feel like it went anywhere. There was a Twilight Zone episode that I liked back in the day. And in this episode, the guy's buying a newspaper for a quarter or whatever it was in the episode, and he flips the quarter into the box where the newsstand was, and they had a little cash box, like a shoe box. And he flips his quarter into the shoe box, and it lands right on its side. And the guy's like, "Hey, man, you see that? That quarter you just flipped landed on its side. Like, have you ever seen that done before? Like, it's standing on its side." And the guy's like, "No, that's kind of crazy." And then because of that, he gets all these like superpowers to be able to read minds or something in this Twilight Zone episode. And so he needs that quarter to stay up, otherwise he loses his superpower to read minds and stuff. So there was a twist to the fact that this guy had the ability to read minds, that he was in a gifted zone. And I thought there could have been a twist to why O'Brien was in this particular zone. There must, could have been some kind of weird thing, or like polarity, cosmic shift, something, a gift somebody gave him, something that altered his luck, or something to that degree, where it would have explained it away better. It would have had more of a meaning. It would have had some substance attached to it, as opposed to I'm in the zone, or if you're in the zone, do something with that zone time, and then maybe fold under the pressure when you get to some kind of high level. I don't know. I just didn't feel like they really exploited that B storyline as well as they could have. It's kind of a throwaway.
It was, but that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like a safe thing to do. They don't have to worry about it impacting future episodes or characters or anything. It's pretty easy. Yeah. I mean, at least it was fine. It was likable. It was fun. It was nice to see O'Brien playing darts. It was nice to see Dax, and I mean, it was cool. I mean, a lot of the Star Trek fans love the whole Chief O'Brien and Bashir darts thing. Like, that's just kind of one of their favorite things, especially the way O'Brien calls them darts. Oh, let's play some darts.
Darts.
Yeah. So, that's cute. But yeah, B-plot, there wasn't much to it. It was pretty pretty safe, pretty easy.
You know, Odo had a line in this episode that I think was like.
I know the line you're going with. I know it. I wrote it down too. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's one of those lines, and I wrote it down as well, and I just think it was, he says, one of the prices of giving people freedom of choice is sometimes they make the wrong choice.
There it is.
And I think the whole episode is just about this line. Like it's DS9 does that. They have these lines, like these Confucius lines that really just like, it sums up what they're trying to say in this episode, right?
That's a good point, yeah.
And I feel like this is one of those lines. This is like, because I had to stop and think about it myself, you know. And I actually really broke it down too, because this is one of the prices of giving people freedom of choice. Now, when I heard that, I thought, who's giving the freedom? Like, who is the giver of the freedom of choice, right? I thought freedom of choice is something we almost take. We don't. It's not given to you. It's something you take it, right?
Right, or it's something that you should just have a right to.
You have a right to, like you're born with it, right? It's God given. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's referring to. A God given freedom of choice, right?
Right.
But who was giving who was doing the giving came in my head for a second. But then also says sometimes they make the wrong choice, and then that just makes you think of all of the things happening in the world today, because we keep seeing, wrong. This is the wrong choice. This is the wrong choice when you turn on the television. So,
that may have popped up once or twice recently. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes up every once in a while, but.
We're talking about NBA draft picks, right?
Right. Don't go for that guy. He's not going to turn out to be a high prospect.
He's just going to be a problem for years to come.
So, but I just thought, wow, that's like a really great line. That's one of those, like I said, Confucius type lines where you're like, it gives you pause for thought.
Right. And to take that a little bit further as well, I don't have any children myself, but this is also something that can be from the point of view of parents to children, which is when you are figuring that your child is old enough to start making certain decisions, like, how late they go out at night, or if they're, they can go for a drive, or who your daughter is going to date. Once you start allowing them to make decisions for themselves, you have to be okay with the fact that you are going to watch them making the wrong decisions. And you have to just say, okay, that's the price of giving them the freedom of choice.
Yeah, that's something that I'm dealing with myself. Just as you raise a child, there's like certain responsibilities that you feel like they've earned enough to do that. So you're old enough now where I can leave you in the house and go to the store and come back.
Sounds scary though, man. All that sounds so scary, being like, okay, you little thing that hardly knows anything about the world, I'm just going to hope that you don't do something too bad.
I'm going to the store. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't touch anything.
Or burn anything.
Or burn down the house. Or, flush yourself down the toilet. Don't do it. So, yeah, it is nerve-wracking as a parent to have to extend those kinds of freedoms of choice to your kid. And that's something that you give the rope little by little. You give a little bit more rope, right? Mm-hmm. And you just keep sliding the rope until eventually they're driving a car and like, Dad, I'll pick you up. And I actually joke with my daughter. She's 9 now, and I said to her the other day, I said, you might have to drive the car, right? It was a total joke. Yeah. I was like, well, I couldn't open the driver's side door, so only the passenger side was open, and the car parked too close. So I said, I can't get in the car, and she said, how are you going to drive? And I said, you might have to drive. She looked at me like, what? I'm not driving, Dad. I was like,
3 years from now, though, she'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
I got you, Dad.
Right. So, and then I said, "Didn't you drive with Grandpa?" She's like, "I just sat on his lap and just turned on the steering wheel. I didn't actually
Right.
drive." And I was like, "Well, you might have to drive now." And then she's looking at me like so nervous, and I thought that was just like it was a special moment. Those are the little father moments that you like.
Right, and that's how Odo felt about the Bajorns.
I think so. I think that's what he was talking about.
I mean, something like that. He's like, "Yeah, sometimes you gotta let them drive."
You know. There was a funny moment in this episode, and I see it a lot in television and movies, but it just jumped out to me in this particular episode. When Kira goes down to Bajor, and she's walking up on that little farmhouse, she walks over and gets down on one knee and grabs the dirt and holds it in her hand and lets it fall through her fingers, right?
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. And I just thought, like, how many times have I seen that done in some kind of form or fashion? You know, like people
right.
pick up the sand and let the sand fall through their fingers, or they pick up the dirt. And I was just like, it is a little bit of a cliche to do.
We've
right?
seen it before, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought about that. And the other thing I thought about was every time they go visit a planet, it seems like they're visiting Earth at a certain time in the past, more so in the future, right?
Yeah.
Because it seems like the culture of the civilization is like Little House on the Prairie with just different furniture or something, you know?
And that furniture is barely different. There's like...
And that furniture, yeah, it's barely different.
Yeah,
so,
and these guys are more technologically advanced than we were 100 years ago. I mean, they're still Bajorn. They have laser beams,
right?
For God's sakes, like
right.
They have ships and lasers, and they got like sailing spaceships out to Cardassia. So, but obviously technology evolves differently for different planets, especially one that was, occupied for 50 years or something by a hostile race. But yeah, it looked like a 1850s America, out in Idaho. Well,
yeah,
actually out in Santa Clarita, but whatever.
That's what it looks like. And then you're like, don't they have all the beam? They have technology to beam things, and they're, transporters and replimats and all this stuff. And the other thing is, would the technology make it obsolete to even want to grow? Like, would replimats make growing kind of like a thing of the past?
That's what I would think. I mean, there are a couple things. Number one is, some people might just want to have
authentic food. Yeah, like
food.
we have non-GMO and GMO, and then you have replimat or real, right?
Yeah. But when it comes to a planet that's trying to come out of poverty and starvation and enslavement, then I don't think that they're going to be picky about the food that they get. So I don't think that could really be it. I think that maybe replicators are maybe expensive and hard to come by. Maybe the rich people have it and most people don't. Maybe once they get brought into the Federation, because they've only applied so far, as Kai Wynn said that she might be backing out, maybe once they get into the Federation has every man, woman, and child gets a replicator, but not until they actually become part of the Federation. Until then, you guys get a couple for the presidents and the Kai or whatever like that. So maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah. No, now that makes me see it in a totally different way. The other issue that I had with Kira flipping the switch and becoming a rebel so quickly was that when she was a freedom fighter, when she was in her rebellious mode, she was a freedom fighter against the Cardassians. So fighting an enemy occupying force is not the same as shooting at your own people.
Totally. And
right?
we saw that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so for me to see her flip on her own people that quickly and even be willing to even consider it, it was like kind of a little suspect for me. You know, like when the two commanders met in the middle of the field, he said, "You don't expect me to surrender, do you? And you don't expect me, and you know I won't do that, and you remember me from this, and you know I did that." And I'm thinking, yeah, you guys work together, so, you know.
Yeah, in my notes I put, they kiss each other's asses quite a bit. It kind of went on for, they're like, oh yeah, well, you know I did this, and you did a great job with it. Well, you did it. Oh boy, let's just reminisce a little bit more before we kill each other.
Right. It was kind of weird patting on the back section before they decide they're going to kill each other. But I thought that was a little bit. It took too much to get to that point for me. I thought that they would be there initially. They didn't have to like have their weapons and the people in their sights before they realized, hey, maybe I shouldn't shoot this guy in his head and cause, you know, a ticket and turn a misdemeanor into a felony murder. You know, like they were going to give you a ticket, you know, for not turning in the reclamators fast
It's like
enough,
a fix-it ticket. Yeah,
it's like a fix-it ticket. Now you're going to turn it into a mass homicide.
Like a fight to the death, man. A civil war, really.
A civil war, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm like, isn't that a little bit overreacting for this jaywalking ticket you're about to get? So that was the other problem I had with it. You know, It was a little bit much. But I understand that the overall purpose of having that play out was really to expose Kai Wynn and her really unscrupulous ways and how underhanded she is about trying to accomplish what she wants to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't remember what the ending was like, and I was trying to remember. I said, how are they going to up the stakes here? Because the stakes were not very high. I mean, they were running around, they were hiding, but it wasn't like an explosion is imminent or somebody's attacking necessarily. And what they did to up the stakes a tiny bit was to have somebody have an accidental shot. And that accidental shot raised like the tension of like, okay, this thing could go off at any moment now. But that's really all they had. And that's really all they could do. And I feel like that may have been a writer's note. Like if the guy that pitched it or the guy that originally wrote it, and they're like, you know, we need to raise the stakes, something like maybe a guy has an accidental shot or something, because otherwise what we have is something that is a climax that isn't really a climax. So they added that. I'm like, okay, good enough, fine. That raised the stakes a little bit, raised the tension a little bit. That's good enough. But I feel like that was probably, you know, a later draft edition of that one little snippet there. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And, you know, this didn't really take us in any way. And I don't know if this is a jumping point, but this is not really leading us in the Dominion War path, right? This is completely...
You're such a Dominion fanboy now. You're like, all I want is the Dominion. Don't give me enough with the Bajor stuff. I want the Dominion.
I want the Dominion. I mean, they're the big...
Bring on the Dominion. I'm ready.
In the quadrant, you know, we got to take care of the big fish first. We don't need this small fry inter-Bajoran beef to be worried about, you know? Where the hell is Golden Cot and all these other badasses?
Man, I know it's tough. It's tough when you want the Dominion and you're getting the Bajorns, man. I feel for you. I feel for you. I was giving you some Shaka Khan, no? Okay.
You know I'm love.
I was trying to bring him back. I was trying to
Shaka
go
Khan,
back
Shaka
full circle.
Shaka Khan. Did you know Miles O'Brien's middle name before this episode?
Edward. Yeah, isn't it Edward? Did they say it in this episode?
They said it in this episode, but you clearly knew it before that. Miles Edward O'Brien.
Yeah, actually, Shakaar, I don't think they said Shakar's last name in this, but in the next episode, we find out that his last name is Dacian.
Really? This is just a setup for a song that you're about to sing us?
No, it's Shakaar Dacian.
Oh God! Oh gosh!
I could have said Dacian. That would have been even.
Shakaar Dacian. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, that groan says that we're just about out of time here, guys.
Wow.
Mercifully.
I knew you were setting me up. I knew it.
If Aaron were here, he would actually reach through the camera and slap me.
He would get his hands around your neck somehow.
He'd be like, this hurts me more than it hurts you.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, but there was a moment in this episode too. I know we're short on time, but I wanted to get this little point in before. In the negotiations between the two Bajorn sects, between Shakaar and the people that were hunting him down, the lieutenant that was hunting him down, Kira says something to the effect of, one of these days we can't stop the return fire, when that little skirmish went off that you were talking about. And that just led me, that kind of brought to my mind a lot of the things that we are talking about in our own headlines, and how we try to quell things and stop things from getting out of hand. But sometimes there is a point in which you can't stop the return fire. You can't stop the thing that once it's been created too far, once it's gone too far.
That snowball
effect, that snowball effect. Like if everybody on the ridge started shooting back, and then they're shooting back, then it's it. Now it's going to go on until nobody's.
It has to be stopped at 0 or 1, but you're not going to stop it after 2. Like once 2 people start shooting, then that's it. Everybody dies. Everybody regrets it. Nobody's happy. Nobody wins.
And that's something that we should all keep in mind when we talk about world politics, when we talk about our own politics, or the world in general. We are trying to avoid the point of no return, the place where you can't stop the return fire, the nuclear holocaust, or whatever it is that we're fearful of, the doomsday things. We're all trying to stop it before it gets to that point. You don't want it to get to that point where it's the point of no return. So I think that's an interesting point that they also brought up in this episode. Just wanted to kind of touch on that.
That's also a song from like the 80s, The Point of No Return. I'm at the point of no return. Anyway, no, but it's somebody knows it out there. But that's a really good point. Really the way to prevent that is to never flirt with that first step. Don't with that first step, you know what I mean? Like, just because everybody thinks that they're just going to take it one step, just one step a little bit further. But that's how mobs happen, is one person just goes a little bit farther, and then they all the next person takes a little bit farther. That's how wars start. This guy takes it a little bit farther than the other side take. Just the key is just don't take that first step into danger, because, like in their case in this episode, they were able to stop it, but they may not have, and they certainly wouldn't have been able to the second time.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Great point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got a grip of bloodthirsty associate producers just chomping at the bit to discuss this episode and sing cheesy 80s songs with us. So we're going to let them in. They're like banging on the door right now. Let us in. Yes. Figuratively. Anyway, so that's going to be on the other side. Thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for the free-for-all, and we'll be back in like half a second. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
We are joined by an incredible group, Dr. Mohamed Noor, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Commander Homer Frizzell, Timothy Baum, Sous Vide Gruner, and Marie Segal, Titus Mohler, and new guy, Commander John Tufarella. Not new to the show, but new to the free-for-all. Can you tell us very quickly, John, about Kazon Cards and Games and where it's located? Because there's a lot of cool stuff. And then we'll have a follow-up question for you, maybe.
Oh, boy. Sure. Quick. We are a card and game store in Canada, New York. Is that quick enough for you?
I was going to go run and grab a beverage, but now I won't. No, but also the more important question is the picture behind you. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's going to be featured during Virtual TrekCon, I do believe.
Sure. We have launched a ship with the Starfleet Command. We are the world's oldest Star Trek fan club, and it is the USS Aaron Eisenberg.
Awesome.
So that would be the information behind with the registry number.
I see the quote, his quote that he would write when he would sign his name, "Follow your dreams."
Yep.
Sweet.
Awesome.
We got to change the picture on it, but as far as the ship, because we rocked with a Chimera class instead of the Prometheus.
For the very few people out there that don't know the difference between the Chimera and Prometheus class, can you tell us? I mean them.
Sure. The Chimera was in Star Trek Online, was the ship that Nog was actually the captain of. So we figured that would be fitting to use that as, the one we go by. The Prometheus was one of my favorite ships, which you saw in Voyager. It was the triple split ship.
Message in a bottle.
That was captured by the Romulans when the Doctor got to transport back through with the EA Mark II.
Love that one.
Wow, that's cool. Good stuff. All right. Well, we've got a fun question for you guys today, because today was a very exciting Bajorn episode that we watched today. And the question is, what is your favorite Bajorn-centric episode? I know. They can't all be winners. Okay, well, I think now if you don't have a favorite Bajorn-centric episode, then just tell us anything you want about this episode today or something else if you didn't watch the episode anytime recently. No pressure, no big deal, or what you're looking forward to, Virtual TrekCon or whatever. But I will say that Timothy Baum has his answer ready. So let's hear it.
I actually do. It was the episode with Brian Keith, where he refuses to leave the moon, and Kira almost cost her career by standing by him. But I know that was one of Brian Keith's last acting jobs before his death. So I think that was one of my favorites.
So you're talking about Progress from season 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that was the one I was thinking of. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're allowed to expand on it. There aren't that many. It's not like there are more than 10.
That was a good pick, though.
Yeah.
10?
Well, I'm just saying.
100.
Name 40.
Good luck.
Now you have time to get a beverage.
Okay, I'm not in the zone that much.
Okay.
No, nice reference.
I'm going to throw out the one with where Lee Nihilus got rescued.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Okay. Mohamed, do you have a Bajorn episode in mind?
I do, but it's going to sound lame. It actually is Shakaar, and I would have said that even if that wasn't the one that you guys just went over, but that would have been my favorite. But I'll give you my number 2, since that might be too much of a throwaway, which is from first season, In the Hands of the Prophets.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Which one is that? Remind us.
It's the one where Kai Wynn is complaining about the school teaching about the...
right.
Isn't that the season finale?
Yeah, it was the season finale, exactly. But which, I mean, as somebody who teaches evolution at schools, there's a lot of parallels there.
Amazing.
Only yours isn't going to get blown up.
There's that.
Hopefully. TJ, do you have a favorite?
Okay, I don't remember the name of the episode, but there's an episode where I think some Bajorn guy comes out of the wormhole and says he's actually the emissary. And like Sisko is thrilled, like he can finally not have to deal with this emissary stuff. But as it turns out, this guy wants to take Bajor back to a caste system, and he's going to tell Kira she has to go be an artist instead of in the military, and all of these changes that just wasn't going to work for them joining the Federation. So it makes Sisko realize that he has to step up into this role of emissary, where he at first questioned it, but now he's kind of owning it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's Accession in season 4.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Wow.
Susan V. Gruner, do you have a favorite, or do you have a specific person you're excited to see during virtual TrekCon, or would you just like to show us some bugs?
No bugs. We saw enough already.
I found another shield bug, by the way, and I thought of you. Yeah, so thanks
it's
for.
It's the season for them, by the way. It's shield bug season. I actually wrote down a quote. One of the reasons that I love Star Trek, I think I can speak for many people, is that it's so relevant. You can take a Star Trek, the original series, Deep Space Nine, The Next Generation, any of them, and they're relevant today. I mean, literally today. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I watched Shakaar, and I took a video of the part I wanted the quote, and the quote is...
Cirroc and I would know where you're going with this one. I think.
You do?
I think so.
You probably do. It has been my observation that one of the prices of giving people freedom of choice is that sometimes they make the wrong choice.
That's right. Odo, 1995. Star date, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cirroc and I talked about that a bit. Thumbs up from Mohamed. Great line, right?
Unbelievable.
What'd you think about the rest of the episode? Also relevant?
Absolutely. Literally today.
I know.
I know. We were saying the same thing. It's crazy. It's like they ripped the headlines. The words in the episode are literally on the headlines. So, I mean, there's so many parallels.
One of these days, we know Robert Hewitt Wolf and Ira Stephen Bear pretty well, and well enough now to where I think we can hold Robert's feet to the fire and get him to admit that he's a time traveler and that he's actually seen the headlines, and he can just go ahead and admit it.
Yeah, it's a lot of coincidence. It's a lot of coincidencing.
Well, Titus.
iPads.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. iPads. The iPads. What were you using? The pads that in Deep Space Nine. Those are iPads. And there was an episode. I think it's with the Cardassians. I think with the little boy, the Cardassian that I think I emailed you guys back. That was the episode I was talking about with my favorite costume. It was that jacket that guy was wearing in the bar. I think his name was Zolan or something like that. But there's a scene where Miles and Keiko have the little boy in their quarters. And he's playing around with his iPad, and Miles comes in and he looks at him and he rolls his eyes. I mean, that's what parents are doing today with their kids with their phones, their iPads. That's exactly. And what year was that? 1996 or something? Yeah. That's just unbelievable. That's somebody definitely time traveled.
Getting a round of applause from Commander John.
3 kids. That's a daily thing.
And the other thing they actually predicted and got right was the fact that sometimes you would use a stylus and sometimes you would type directly on the pad, which is another thing that we do.
Mm-hmm. The big difference would be that in the middle of the scene, you didn't go, "Oh, I need to do another update."
Yeah, or the fact that you could hold more than one email on each one, or whatever it is. They're reading one pad and they're like, "Huh, let me check out the diagnostics." They put that down and they have to look at the next pad. Like there's no internet.
That's so TNG.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a closed system.
Okay. Titus, do you have a preferred Bajorn episode?
I was just scanning the episode guides real quick. Yeah, I don't know. This is maybe the ultimate choice, but it was one that jumped out to me. The Collaborator from towards the end of season 2. I thought that was a really interesting one because we all know how Kira feels about collaborators, and that one she was really having to reckon with somebody close to her being the collaborator, and then there's the twist where you find out no, it was somebody else that she looks up to very highly that was, and so it was that. I enjoyed the politics of Bajor. I don't know. I like political thrillers and stuff like that. So when they got knee deep into that, I really enjoyed it, and so I think that was a pretty good episode.
Wow, that's really cool, man. Yeah, we just did that one a little bit ago, right, Cirroc?
Yeah, and I like that episode. I think he nailed it on the head. I like that one.
Titus, I'm glad that we bought you enough time to look through the names because I knew this was going to be a tough question because it's not like it's easy to memorize all of the episode names of the Bajorn episodes. Mm-hmm. Anne Marie knows hers.
Actually, I have to say, I don't remember the name of the one I'm going to say, but honorable mention to Shakaar because I love Frizzell and Lupiza. I think they're so charismatic. Like, I can't get enough of them, and I love when they come back. But I think my favorite is actually when Kira gives birth to, what's his name? Kiriyoshi. And then at the same time, Dr. Moore is there with helping Odo with his baby. And I just feel like it's such a beautiful one where you get a really good flavor for, like, I think it's really interesting, like, the Bajorn way of giving birth. And you get to learn a lot more about, like, Odo when he was little on Bajor. And so I love that one. I love the Bajorn ones on TNG. And I mean, I don't love the Bajor politics ones, like the Surge that are just pure politics. But I love when they're kind of about their culture and about, like, recovering from their Holocaust in, like, a really rich way. And also, I have to say, I got a new bracelet from Walking Art made by Melissa, and it's beautiful. And definitely check out her website.
We'll include that in the description box of this video below. It's Walking Art made by Melissa, and it is Melissa Longo that does it.
And it says Deep Space Nine in binary code.
Sweet.
Let me see. Show it to us again.
It's kind of hard to pick up because now it's like getting dark earlier here, so I had to get like a lamp, and it doesn't do it justice. It's really cool and like fake leather, but it looks really real. And it's beaded so that it says Deep Space Nine in binary code, but you can get it like to say any Star Trek series.
Very cool. Now, Mr. Homer Frizzell, did we get yours? Sorry, this thing just switched positions on us. We have not gotten yours yet, but we'd love to hear it.
Thank you. I don't think it's usually thought of as a Bajorn episode, but it sets the stage for everything. So, Emissary.
So good.
The pilot episode?
Yeah. Yeah, the pilot episode. It sets up, the Federation is there, Bajor is there, the wormhole is there, the religion is there, the science is there. It sets up everything that's going to happen thereafter. And you get Kira, so you get that flavor of Bajor or Bajor, however you want to say it. Yeah.
Bajor.
Guys.
And that's Ryan's domain.
Bajor.
Yeah.
Well, didn't the etymology nerd, didn't she tell us it was Bajor?
I asked the question, but still bugs me. I hear Bajor, Bajor. What is it?
Hey guys, by the way, special thanks to Anne-Marie for mentioning Walking Art Made by Melissa, because it reminded me that somehow the link that I sent to Melissa did not go through, so I just had to send it again. So special round of applause for Melissa for standing by for us.
Wow.
Oh, so hopefully she's joining us.
How you doing, Melissa? Yeah, she's here right now. How's it going, Melissa?
Great.
I'm okay. I thought today wasn't Thursday.
No. As soon as Anne-Marie said the website, I was like, oh yeah, where's Melissa? And I saw that the link didn't send, so our apologies, but it looks like, is that a Ferengi shirt you're wearing?
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Brand new thing for the website?
Ew.
I
Yeah,
love
what is
that
that?
so much. I love the Great River.
Awesome.
Great River will provide.
Nice.
It provided me with this amazing cup.
Yeah, those are fun too.
So we will be including the link in the description box below of Walking Art Made by Melissa. You can get that shirt. I don't know if you can get that shirt yet, but it's very soon. By the time this episode is up, it will be available, as well as the binary code bracelet from Anne-Marie. You said it's ready, Melissa?
Yeah. Ready and up and
Great River has provided.
Perfect.
Great River. Yeah.
Homer, did we get all of your answer yet, or did we kind of?
You did. I could drone on, but I think you heard enough.
We like it when you drone.
Thank you.
He mentioned the emissary.
Yeah. Wasn't sure if there was more. Okay. Commander John Tufarella out in Candor.
Yes, sir.
Absolute
wait,
Candor.
really fast, say what the question is so that Melissa can prepare.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Melissa, because we're going to jump on you and you're not going to have any idea. We're talking about our favorite Bajorn episodes. Bajor.
Bajor.
That's how.
Oh my God, it gets me every time.
That's how Picard said Bajor in the first episode of Deep Space Nine. For some reason, nobody corrected him. Anyway, John, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I jumped in there with the episode where they rescue Lee, who is still on the one moon, or was it Cardassia 4, and still in a labor camp. That was a pretty badass episode, I think. And then when him getting back to the station and everyone wants to glorify him like a hero, and he's just like, no, just I want out, and doesn't want the honor and glory. Is very, very humble about it. But ended up stepping up and is like, all right, I will do what I need to do, but stop treating me like a god, because I'm not.
Good.
I want to give a quick shout out to the guy that played Frizzell. I'm a big Sons of Anarchy fan. He was Piney in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So as soon as I was rewatching the episode today, I'm like, it clicked. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah,
so it was fun to see him back.
Cirroc and I went 50 minutes without making a Pharrell joke. We were both thinking it, but neither one of us made one.
Yeah, I missed out on that one.
I would say now's your chance, but I know how your jokes go, Ryan.
I know, it's best not.
Well, I don't want to offend Terry Farrell.
Okay.
That's all I got. I'm sorry.
I thought I was going with the musician joke. But
yeah,
yours is better.
I combined them.
I mean, are you for real?
I knew that was yep.
There we go. It's contagious. Homer will be along soon.
I'm curious how they got Louise Fletcher.
Because she's so good, or because?
Oh yeah, she's a little even before my time, but she plays such a great villain. I was checking her out. I Googled her. She's a very interesting person. I think right now she's 88 years old. But while she was doing Deep Space Nine, she hit a cop with her car and pinned the cop was pulling a deer carcass out of the road. I think it was in Chicago or by Chicago. Google it. And she got a ticket or something. She hit a cop with her car. I have to admit, it made me giggle. And I thought she's right in the middle of working I don't know how old she would have been then. Oh, 60 something. She would have been 63
65
or something. I think it was 1998 that it happened. So I'm thinking, oh, she had a policeman and pinned the policeman between her car and his car.
She was like, out of the street, my child.
Oh dear.
Well, at Gate, she might be fully retired, but does anybody know, did she have any role in that Ratchet?
Oh my gosh, that looks so scary.
No, I don't think she does.
Okay.
Now, here's a trivia. Most of you guys know more trivia than I do. How many Oscar winners have appeared on any of the Star Trek series?
Well, she's definitely one of them.
Yes, that's the only one I can think of.
Did Joel Gray win an Oscar? Didn't Joel Gray win an Oscar?
Whoopi Goldberg?
Yes, Whoopi. Yeah.
Whoopi won
Did
an
Frank
Oscar.
Langella win for Frost Nixon? Or maybe he didn't.
Don't remember.
Or Joel Gray. I don't know if he has an Oscar.
Didn't The Rock win? Oh, sorry.
The Rock won Sunday. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's a good question, actually. Oscar winners.
Somebody that's fast on the Google might be able to tell us. Melissa, I'd like to apologize for what we've been talking about just now with The Rock. That was mostly Homer, though. But do you have a favorite Bajorn episode or Bajorn-related episode?
I don't know. I was trying to think. I do like this one. But I also like the one where Jadzia and Kira are in the little janky.
Oh yeah.
The
circle, maybe.
Don't fly by this. I don't remember.
Something about seat of the pants technology.
Yeah, something like that.
And massive spiders.
With the palakus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susie Palaku?
You know, the little rodents. Palakus.
I don't remember those guys.
I thought that was a cool sequence, too. That was like the end of the three-parter that... that was the end of the... Yeah, I think it's the siege that y'all were talking about before. So,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, that John was talking about.
Cirroc, do you have a favorite Bajorn episode thus far?
Yeah, I think Commander John Tufarella and Timothy Baum took my answer. I just have to agree with them. I thought that performance was really great by, you said Brian Kelly?
Brian Keith from Family Affair.
Brian Keith. Yeah, I thought he did like a major job, and that stands out as one of the best episodes for me.
Wait, he was in Family Affair? Like with Mr. French?
No, he was Uncle Bill. And it was about 4 years ago when I rewatched the series again. And I'm watching that episode going, that sounds like Uncle Bill, because I grew up with that Family Affairs.
I had no idea.
And so then it was I got on the Google and it's like, holy cow, that was Brian Keith. And then I found out that it wasn't long after that he was dying of lung cancer and he took his own life.
Wow.
But Sissy and Jody and Buffy,
and Mrs. Beasley?
Mr. French, and
I love that show.
Miss Beasley was her
Mrs.
dog.
Beasley, yeah. Okay.
It's
Also,
a
like
family
Ryan's
affair.
background keeps like cracking me up because I keep seeing Ronan from Sub Rosa, and hearing his voice in my head about the candle.
That's the same actor?
Yes, it's Ronan.
Oh, dear.
I messaged you about this earlier today. Were you like, Emery, why are you messaging me about Ronan and Sub Rosa?
I don't know.
She talks about this all the time.
I do feel like I remember hearing that recently, not today, but like within the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it was you that told me or somebody else, but
they talk about it all the time on Lambda Quadrant because Randy Franks does like an amazing Ronan impression, so he's always like busting it out. It comes up a lot there.
maybe that's why then. That could be it, because I was on Stephanie K's podcast like a week or two ago. We were talking about Lambda Quadrant there. I want to nominate Duet. I know it's not necessarily a completely Bajorn episode, but it's very Bajorn-centric, I'd say. And it's very Shakespearean in nature, and I was just very impressed by it, considering it was a first season episode. There weren't a ton of gems in that first season, but that was definitely the one for me.
Mm-hmm. I think it was one of the finest episodes of the whole series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was. I was going to say that one, Ryan, but I just didn't know whether it was considered a Bajorn-centric episode or not.
Yeah, me too.
It's kind of borderline, yeah.
But it is a great episode, especially the back and forth between the two of them. It's just amazing.
You know who else I think liked it very much? Melissa, didn't Aaron really, really like that one a lot? He would talk to me about it quite a few times.
Yeah, I think he cried.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, how great to have a show, an episode that moves you so much and moves you to tears in the first season. He's like, that's a good show. This is a really good show. So he really liked that episode.
Yeah. Cirroc, do you remember reviewing that episode with Aaron and with Nana? And what a great time that was. I remember that like it was yesterday, but it wasn't. But I do remember Aaron being just totally blown away by it, and that's a good memory. That's probably my favorite memory of the first season was the episode itself.
Do you remember the guest star who played the opposite Nana on that?
What's his name?
Was it Harris Yulin?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was.
Yeah, I'd probably put that in my top 2, probably, for DS9.
People still talk about his performance. I don't remember who it was, but just recently someone was talking about his performance again, just like in the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there with Jeff, the best episode, one of the best episodes of our show for sure. I mean, the acting in that is just, it's Shakespearean. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when he says he's Cardassian, isn't that enough? And Kira's going like, no, it's not.
Yeah, sometimes the dialogue, you're like, I want to get to the action. But sometimes the dialogue, you're like, I want more dialogue. Like, keep talking. And that's one of those where you're like, I can listen to these two people go back and forth all day. They're really making their own argument of why they are who they are.
Let's do. Oh, what? Who? What?
No, I was gonna say I did the Google.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Looks like only 4. That's a lot lower than I thought. A lot of nominees.
Wait, don't tell us. This is exciting. See if you could guess them.
No, we already tried.
Okay.
We got 2, right?
You got 1. So you got Louise Fletcher.
On Deep Space Nine. That's Deep Space Nine.
Whoopi Goldberg?
Star Trek in general. Whoopi's
on
there.
Okay, so we got Whoopi and Louise.
I'd like to throw in a guess just for fun.
Yeah.
Brian Rhys Davies?
Nope. Well, not on this list anyway.
Alfre Woodard?
Oh, sure. She was in First Contact.
Yeah.
What did she
she's
get?
Not on here.
Oh.
Paul. Oh, do you always say Paul Sorvino?
Nope.
Who was the woman blonde in the first? It wasn't the pilot of the original series, but who was that actress?
Like Janice Rand?
No.
Grace Lee Whitney?
No.
Oh.
Ow.
In the pilot was that lady that played Colt. It's in Colt or Lieutenant Colt.
Think about the one who was in where
Are
No
you
Man Has
thinking
Gone
of
Before.
Sally? Good.
Yes, Sally Kellerman.
Oh.
What about her? Is that her name?
The only other 2 on the list are both male, and they're both from the movies.
Idris Elba?
No, I have to look.
What about Idris Elba?
Did Christian Slater win something?
Ricardo Montalban.
James Cromwell?
He won an Oscar.
No.
No. Cromwell is a nominee. He's on here as a nominee, not a winner.
Love that dude.
It was for Babe.
Chris Pine, did he win an Oscar?
Wait, Joel Grey did win an Oscar.
Oh, God. If Chris Pine won an Oscar, he needs to get it taken away.
Ray,
No judgments.
No
Yeah.
judgments.
Oh no, there's definitely judgments there.
Okay.
Andor in the house.
I don't know. From the movies?
Yeah, Joel Grey did win for Best Supporting Actor.
Who is it?
Joel Grey from Cabaret.
Joel Grey, hot.
Okay.
He was,
Looking at
oh,
TrekMovie.com.
That was a good one there, Ryan.
What's the name of the actor who plays?
This is an old article. I mean, it's TrekMovie.com.
That explains it. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love you.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Shots fired.
What's the name of the actor who plays
I
Damien
know
Dark
there's
in Arrow?
generations.
So what's the final answer, John?
We don't
All right,
know.
so we're looking at F. Murray Abraham, who was
Oh, yeah. For Amadeus.
At our Waffle.
Insurrection. And then Christopher Plummer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Son of
Oh, yeah. I
Thanks,
forget
John.
about, like, the TOS movies.
There's probably others. This is probably a wrong list. But
Well,
there's a lot of nominees.
other actors that are Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard, in the original series. Remember he played the little
Malek.
The Tranya guy.
Yeah.
And plus he was in Deep Space Nine, and the one where they went.
It was. The Siege of Bell.
Yes, right.
Yes.
I'm invisible. I love that guy.
I'm invisible, yeah.
He was in Discovery also in the season finale.
Yeah, for season 1. That's right.
That was a
Well,
good
he won an Oscar. He never won an Oscar.
No.
What did you say?
Sue's laughing a little too hard at that one. She's like, no.
Oh, real quick, I have a funny Chris Pine story.
All right, we're ready for it. Plug your ears, John.
I was in the green room at the Indy 500, which is I was doing color guard, but that's where everybody came in to use the bathroom, and it's like I heard the handle jiggle, and I said, "Just a minute," and I came out, opened the door, and there's Chris Pine, and I'm like, all I did was stand there and go, "Kirk." He had a Star Trek hat on at the time, but it was like caught me by surprise.
So was that a number 1 or a number 2?
Engage number 1.
It was mixed.
Was there a captain's log involved?
Yeah.
Whoops, we stopped recording just a little too late.
Is this thing still on? Are we still going?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he probably still is.
Oh, God.
Name wasn't the only thing dropped. I mean,
Zing.
Wow.
Titus, I just wanted to point out very quickly that judging by your reactions, it seems that you're like me and you don't really watch the Emmys too much.
You mean the Academy Awards?
Whatever. The Oscars, I don't really know the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched as much television live anymore. I mean, I'll catch on Netflix, stuff like that. So, yeah, I didn't, like, I probably wouldn't have followed much of this year's. But were we talking about Emmy winners or Oscar winners?
Oscars.
You're right. Oscars. It was Oscars. I don't know anything. Grammys. I don't know. Anyway.
Captain's log got him real flustered, guys. Sorry about that.
Is it a number 1 or a captain's log?
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
You're right.
Also, final thoughts. Let's hear Mohamed tell us a tiny bit about the promenade that was so dubbed by Homer Frizzell. A lot of crazy things happen in these free-for-alls, but just tell us a little bit about the promenade that's coming up during Virtual TrekCon, if you will, because Mohamed's been very helpful in that regard, and I've been very lazy. When people say, to me, "Oh, what's this vendor's room like?" I'm like, "Let me CC our promenade coordinator, and he can give you 6 paragraphs of stuff, so I don't have to type it." And
sure thing. Well, actually,
does
I just wrote it once, and I've just been copying and pasting repeatedly, so it's been a lot easier that way. So basically, each of the convention days, there will be a 1-hour time slot where you'll get basically a list of vendors or promenade members who are available for Zoom. So you can then, look up and see who are the podcasters at that time, pick one, log in, and you can have a chat with them. And I've been telling them to prepare something so when people pop in, you can have a chance to talk with them about your podcast, maybe invite them to say something and be recorded with their permission, things like that. Or meet, a crafter and have something held up. Our own Melissa Longo, who's right here, is going to be one of the participants. Yay. But we've reached out to about 60 people so far, and I think somewhere between 30 and 40 have already said yes. So it seems to be coming along pretty well.
That's like as many shops as there are in the real promenade, right?
Yeah. There might be a little bit of bleed between now and then, but we're getting there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Mohamed, for
pleasure
taking a lot of work off our hands there.
It's amazing.
Anyway, any other final thoughts from anybody before we call it a week?
Are you trying to look over your camera?
You can see in the back.
Just trying to.
Any hands up?
All right. Well,
I'll say one thing. I'm looking forward. I enjoyed this episode, but I'm especially looking forward to next week's episode.
Facet.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be fun, I think.
And our just on Tara on.
Yep, we've got one of our most favorite characters in the history of the world in that episode, Nog.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very excited about that. Melissa will be joining us for that one, and she's pointing at her awesome new shirt.
So good.
Either that or she's going, "I'm number 1. I'm going to this episode, guys." Also, it's going to there's Chase Masterson's going to be in that episode as well. That's really cool. It'll be I think Lita's second episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a lot of cool characters popping up in that one.
Isn't it a Cassidy Yates?
Is there another Cassidy Yates?
I think isn't it our introduction to her?
We just had that.
Oh, that was today. They all run together. I can never watch
it wasn't today. It was before this episode, before Shakaar.
Last week.
Family Business.
I keep watching all these together.
Family Business, yeah.
Cool. So next week's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a barn burner. Melissa's going to bring the black licorice for all of us to enjoy. And no?
Nope.
Am I the only one?
No.
You're the only one that likes black licorice.
No, I like it.
Nice. All right.
I love it.
We're taking over.
We just can't eat a whole bag of it, apparently.
Oh, my gosh.
No, that guy just died recently.
I know. Isn't that bizarre?
Really?
The black licorice guy?
Yeah,
Yes,
it has a toxin in it, and he ate 5 pounds of it, and
he died.
Oh, let that be a lesson to you, Ryan.
It is right now.
Wow.
And I can tell from John's reaction, he doesn't even like black licorice at all.
No.
What about Kokabuka? I mean, Sambuca.
I don't even like the smell of it. The smell of it.
No, I think it's one of those things that you either like it or you hate it.
Yeah. I don't love it.
I love it. French people love it. It's it is life. Black
then again, I don't
life.
like root beer either. I don't know. There's a lot of root beer lovers.
In California, you can get some really cool black licorice. I can't remember the name of the store. We don't have them here in Florida, but it's in a circle, and it's really thin. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ryan?
Is it in a circle and you peel it like a spiral?
Yes.
I didn't know we have that here. I always have.
You do.
My cousin actually mails me some from France. I didn't know I could get some right here in California.
I'll tell you where to get it.
I don't know why I'm pointing over there. That's actually south from France.
My cousin lives in Palos Verdes. I'm usually there 4 times a year. And there's a high-end shopping store. It's not Ralph's. So it's higher end than that has all kinds of great.
Maybe.
Bristol Farms. Gelson's.
Yes, Bristol Farms sells that black licorice. That's the place.
No, thank you.
You may have to go to Palos Verdes to get it, but.
Sorry, John and Tim.
I would imagine you could get it at World Market too.
Yeah.
I can't even have a bite of it. I'm telling you, it's like it's repulsive to me. It's repulsive to me.
You don't have to feel sorry for us, Ryan. We feel sorry for you.
All right, guys. At the next Star Trek convention, everybody listening or watching at the next Star Trek convention, bring Cirroc some black licorice as a gift. But play dumb. Act like you don't know the. Just say, Cirroc, I got you my favorite, but as a token of my appreciation, and just like
it's all going to you, Ryan.
Okay.
I'll bag it up and send it to you. And the root beer. You can have all of that.
You gotta make sure you mail it to France first, so it makes full circuit.
No.
I want to make it from scratch. It's one of my bucket list things. I want to make root beer from scratch.
Yum.
A great root beer reference in the pilot for season 4 coming up.
Ooh.
Now ginger beer, I like.
Yeah.
Ooh,
oh yeah,
I like that.
That's good stuff.
Birch beer.
What's your favorite soda, Cirroc?
Favorite soda? Ooh.
That is a good.
It's not root beer. I'm taking it. So.
No, it's probably like Fanta or Orange Crush, something like that.
Interesting.
I'm not a big soda guy anymore. I got away from all sodas and stuff because I felt like it was not that healthy.
Yeah.
So.
What was the soda that you couldn't get enough of back in the day when you were a soda fiend? That's pop for everybody in the north.
Yeah. There's nothing better than an ice cold Coca-Cola when you really want to, when you're eating a burger or if you want to burp. So that's the thing. I do like a Coca-Cola, but once again, like as I started to become more health conscious, I didn't want to have any of that those sugars and artificial flavors and stuff. So I started just drinking regular stuff like this. Pineapple juice.
Yeah.
100%.
That's good stuff.
See? 100%.
I'm addicted to palm.
Nothing in there.
Pomegranate juice.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Ryan, was that prune juice that you held up a Warriors drink or
a Warriors drink? Yeah. No, it's just a lime. That's why it's green, so my green screen hides it.
Okay, yeah.
Lime
earlier.
Bubbly.
Lime bubbly.
But those Hanson's sodas are good. They're like the peach creams and all of those Hanson's cherry vanillas and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. And healthier than the regular Coca-Colas and stuff like that.
Since it's in the 50s here, I'm having hot apple cider.
Yum.
Oh,
yum, yum, yum. All right, this is what we're going to do. Next week, everybody prep your favorite beverage. You can either have it on hand or just tell us. That way it gives you a week to really mull it over and just toil over like what your favorite one is. I know Melissa's thinking hard.
Wow, all right.
I know this is it. We asked the tough questions here. Thank you, Titus, for that question. That was a good one.
There you go. Nice.
Really. Anyway, we do have to run, but everybody, thank you for joining us at home. Everybody here, Dr. Mohamed Noor, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Commander Homer Frizzell, Tim Baum, Susan V. Gruner, Dr. Marie Segal, Titus Mohler, Melissa Longo, the artiste, and Commander John Tufarella out in absolute candor. Thank you all for joining us. That was coined by Marie Segal, of course. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Always remember the 7th rule.